Welcome everyone to another action figure review, as I have the Medicom Mafex Spider-Man, the upgraded suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. So yes, Medicom have now finally began with this particular line. Having seen the likes of Tamashii Nations and Hasbro release figure after figure, it's time for them to step up. Of course, this isn't probably the Spider-Man that a lot of people wanted for this film. They are probably waiting for the Tobey and Andrew version. However, this is a step forward. It is the upgraded suit, the one he wore in the opening scene. So I'm sure after this release, they're going to announce the others very soon. And this is something they always do. I guess Tamashii Nations did the same, where they released the upgraded suit once again in the No Way Home packaging. This is something that we've seen before in the Far From Home line, but I believe there is some changes to this particular figure. And this is one for those who missed out on the previous one, or just probably want an upgrade on this particular suit. So looking at the packaging, I guess it's kind of standard Medicom, really nicely presented with a shot of Spider-Man at the front, and then we have the logos. I noticed that the design is got kind of the integrated suit of the Tom Holland version, so that could be a hint they're releasing that very soon. And then on the side, of course, we have a shot of Spider-Man, and then the titles here. Of course, this is a very iconic scene when he notices Jameson announces he's Peter Parker. And then on the other side, we have another shot of Spider-Man. At the back, we have the figure in different poses. And then at the top, it says Spider-Man No Way Home. And then at the bottom, we have some information. So let's get this Spider-Man upgraded suit out of its packaging and take a closer look. So inside, we have the certificate to show it's a genuine product. We have the usual stand. And here is the figure with its accessories inside its packaging. So here is the first look at the Spider-Man upgraded suit right out of its packaging, and I guess by now Medicom Mafex have the reputation for being the #1 company out there, at least for the superhero lines, and this is another great looking sculpt they've produced. No matter how great the Hasbro Marvel Legends version is or the Tamashii Nations SH figure arts, a lot of people just tend to say wait for the Mafex version before deciding. And I guess I have to kind of agree with them, because most of the time when they produce their version, it seems to be the best one out of it, at least on par with them. And I'm still loyal to the Tamashii Nations SH figure arts, because I picked up a lot of the Avengers figures. I've got a lot of the Spider-Man ones, and I'm kind of building my collection around them. Medicom just always seem to be a bit slow on the characters, but no doubt when they produce their character, it is actually an amazing piece. So I do have to agree with what most people say, wait for the Mafex version before deciding. And this is a great looking Spider-Man once again. Of course, he wore it in Far From Home, he wore it in the opening of No Way Home, that's why we've got this figure. And this is heavily inspired from the first appearance because of the black and red suit, and I do like it. I prefer it over the Homecoming version. I think the logo at the back really pops from the black colors, and just overall I really like the look of this suit. And let's just bring it closer. You can see the textures from the mask to, of course, the body and then the legs, and this is almost like a flawless figure. I just really like the way it's built, and I think for Mafex as well, it's a lot more sturdy, a lot more stocky, and just based on first impressions, I gotta say it's probably even better than the SHF version. I just feel that their Spider-Man sometimes can feel a bit fragile, very thin. No doubt some of them are great looking figures, but I just feel for this one in particular, for the Tom Holland version, this is probably the best one out there. And I don't have the previous Medicom Mafex upgraded suit, I don't have that version to compare it with, so I'm kind of just basing it on a standalone, and so far I am impressed by this figure. So yeah, I guess this is kind of what we expect now with Medicom, because they've been doing it from the beginning. The first Mafex was the Amazing Spider-Man, and then just over the years they've been doing the live action ones, the animated ones, the comic versions, so a lot of experience in producing Spider-Mans, and I guess this is no different, another amazing piece. So now let's test out the articulation, so the movement of the Spider-Man figure, starting off with the head sculpt. So it can go side to side, no problem, and it can go round and round, and then the neck also moves with it, very smooth, and it can tilt to left and right, and then upwards motion this much, quite a lot in fact, and then downwards quite a lot. Of course, these are for the jumping and swinging poses. And then for the arms, they can stretch side to side, no problem, and then forwards, upwards, backwards, round and round, and it can go outwards as well, and then inwards quite a lot, as you can see. So very good motion here. And then for the biceps, there's a swivel, there's also a elbow bend quite far back as well. And then for the hands, as usual, it should have a rotation and it should have a hinge as well. And then for the body, so for the upper torso, left and right, no problem. It can actually go all the way around if you want. And it can also tilt left and right. And then there's also a forward crunch and then backwards slightly. And then for the waist, it turns left and right, no problem. And then side to side, and then it has a forward crunch, which is okay. And then backwards this much. And then for the legs, kick forwards and then backwards, and then of course it does the splits side to side, and it can also rotate upwards and then inwards as well. You can see there's rotation. And then for the knees, it has a full bend, very good articulation here. And then for the foot, there is rotation and it could go side to side, I'm sure. And there's also a toe hinge. So I guess for Spider-Man, this is kind of expected now. You need very good articulation for this figure. And now we can test out the accessories. So moving on to the accessories, let's first take a look at the alternative hands, because there is plenty. There are a total of 7 sets, including the ones right out of the box. So of course, out of the packaging, it is the closed fist. So it also includes his usual ones like the wall crawling hands. And then we also get a set of web shooter hands. And then we have the 2-finger pose hands. And then we also get some hands to hold on to the webs. And then we also get another set of hands to hold on to some of the accessories included. And then a final set of hands is the wall crawling hands once again, but this time with the magnets. They also included a pair of extra foot with the magnets below. So here is the accessory in hand, which is of course his mobile cell phone. And this is a pretty interesting and fun accessory to have for different poses. I believe it was included in the first upgraded suit, so I guess they've just added it in once again. And there's not much detail on the actual device, but I guess it still works. As for the web accessories, it has 6 in total. So we have a set of short webs, as well as a set of medium-sized length webs, and also a set of extra long webs. So now let's take a look at the alternative head sculpts. So there are 3 in total. So the first one, we have the extra large eyes, which is for that surprise look. And we also get the squinted eyes for the focused look. And I like how Medicom have kept it simple by just swapping out the head sculpts, whereas something like the SH Figuarts, you have to swap out the eyes, which can also be a bit of a hassle. And the third head sculpt is the Peter Parker unmasked look, which of course is included with the neck. And this is something I do like. I think the likeness is certainly there to Tom Holland. And I believe in the previous upgraded suit they did not have one. So this one is certainly a upgrade, and it's a nice bonus to always have the Peter Parker look. I think previously they may have done one for the Homecoming figure and maybe the Iron Spider suit as well, but based on what I'm seeing now, this might be the best one. Of course it could still be improved. I think the hairstyle maybe could be better, but in terms of the actual face sculpts, I do like it. And the final accessory is the mask in hand, which of course is to create that perfect look when he has the Peter Parker head sculpt. Medicom Mafex have done this before, and of course other companies have started to do it, so this is a definite great accessory to have. So now for the size comparisons, here it is next to the SH Figuarts Spider-Man tech suit on the left and the Spider-Man upgraded suit on the right. Here it is next to an SH Figuarts Doctor Strange on the left and the Medicom Mafex Doctor Strange on the right. Here it is next to a Hasbro Marvel Legends Ned Leeds on the left and MJ on the right. Here it is next to a Hasbro Marvel Legends J. Jonah Jameson on the left and Mysterio on the right. And finally, here it is next to the SH Figuarts Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on the left and the Amazing Spider-Man on the right. And of course, we're now waiting for the Mafex versions. So now for my final thoughts on the Mafex Spider-Man upgraded suit for No Way Home. This is certainly a great figure to begin the line, as it looks to be the upgraded version from the previous release. It is what I expected, with a good sculpt, plenty of interchangeable hands, lots of webs, the extra head sculpts, and of course the unmasked Peter Parker look. And I think by now Medicom have implemented what is needed for a Spider-Man figure and just added the finishing touches like the mask in hand. And I do overall like the sculpt as well. The proportions are on point, and I think the paint job looks to be very smooth. The only thing I would say is to add a bit of detail like color onto the cell phone, and I think maybe for the unmasked Peter Parker head sculpt it could be slightly better, but it seems as though it is an improvement from the previous releases they have done. So my score is a 9 out of 10. This does exactly what I expected for the Spider-Man upgraded suit, and you can't really ask for more. It is a must if you don't have the previous ones in your collection, or you simply want the better figure. And after this, I do have high hopes for their next Spider-Man releases, which is likely to be the integrated suit followed by the other two Spider-Mans. If you enjoyed this video, hit the links below for more Spider-Man content, and also be sure to comment who you want to see them release next, and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.